Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ushma Tyagi and I shall be your host today. It's my pleasure to bring you our next generation IT infrastructure webinar, Reinventing Paradigms, Building Resilient and Intelligent Enterprises, brought to you by AMD and HPE and powered by Strategic Solutions. Today, we will engage with strategic analysts, AMD and HPE experts, and eminent IT leaders on driving improved customer experience by pushing the boundaries of application performance, energy efficiency, information security, and overall system throughput to deliver on the promise of next generation IT infrastructure. In keeping with the theme of today's webinar, we will start with an analyst perspective into questions like why for business and IT leaders, whether they are making a push for new digital offerings or improving employee work experience. Cutting-edge IT infrastructure is the way forward to successfully navigate challenges faced with cloud computing, software-defined networks, high-performance computing, and big data analytics workloads. For bringing you this perspective, I hand you over to Mr. Shantanu Ganguly, Chief Executive Officer, Strategic Solutions, to share his insights with us. Over to you, Shantanu.
Hi, good morning, distinguished delegates. I am Shantanu Ganguly, CEO at Strategic. Together with AMD and Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, I welcome you all in today's Thought Leadership webinar. Now that the year 2020 is behind us, we all look forward to 2021 business landscape with a lot of positivity, optimism, and I'm sure each of us have a lot of goals to achieve for our respective businesses. In that context, today we have chosen our theme as Reinventing Paradigms, Building Resilient and Intelligent Enterprises. So I'm sure all of you will really relish and cherish the thought leadership discussion and rich conversation and insights that's going to unfold with all of us in a while. So let me start by setting up a little context. So by now, we are all clear as technology leaders, business leaders, that the year 2021 is about accelerating our pace of adoption of various digital technologies towards business resurgence. And if we see some specific trends, this technology leveraged business growth resurgence, this thought process or set of action is fairly universal across all verticals of industry. So you take key leading industries listed here. In each of them, depending upon where we belong to, each of us are leading diverse initiatives and changes to make each of our businesses more digital, more agile, more responsive, and more resilient. And if we see certain numbers or indicators, you will see the quantum of increase in healthcare teleconsultations or the rise in digital payments that we have all experienced or we have contributed to as much. And also, if e-commerce is an indication, a 3x growth in e-commerce over last 8 to 10 months has been a strong indicator of digital adoption across all verticals and across all size and scale of industry. Now, if we look at top trends in space of data center, I have listed here about 4 specific key trends that I consider are very crucial and important. It's fairly readable, so I'll just bring in a few perspectives here. So hyperscalers and leveraging them, hybrid multi-cloud adoption. I'm sure it's a no-brainer in each of our initiatives, organization, or line of businesses. We are adopting multiple workloads or as a service initiatives, leveraging hybrid multi-cloud. Having said that, edge computing is also gaining a lot of traction, and with 5G launch now very much real and up the horizon, uh, lot of this that's where this hybrid concept of okay having things up in the cloud versus as much close to your edge, that balancing of workloads depending upon the purpose of usage and the extent of agility and security and resilience that you need from that ecosystem. uh, it is all very purpose specific and best of breed combination that every organization is planning out. AI, automation, security, of course, is at the center of everything. So anything and everything now revolves around the level of autonomous intelligence it can bring as part of the solution. And of course, with all or as much of the manual processes or tedious work or repetitive work that can be automated, and of course security at the core, and security as sort of native and built or plugged into everything. And last but not the least, but at the same time an important I would say KPI or performance indicator, or I would say initiative, is around sustainability and reducing carbon footprint and reducing energy consumption, or reducing the heat dissipation from data centers or technology infrastructure. And that definitely has a larger long term ramification implication. So these definitely are holistic key trends, and it will definitely get refocused on during 2021 and beyond. And all of us are building our operational, tactical, I would say, execution steps as part of a sustainable long-term journey that's built on the pillars or foundations of these core trends, or I would say strategic priorities. Now, with that, I will possibly sign off, but before I do that, couple of additional data points. One is, as per McKinsey, India is the world's second largest growing digital economy. So going by projections, by 2025, in another 3 to 4 years from now, IT and communications industry in India will double sort of itself in terms of size. So expected to contribute close to around 400 billion US dollars to India's GDP. So that's a phenomenal growth potential that in 3 to 4 years there are multiple analysts who are predicting India's technology IT led revenue, turnover, economic, I would say, contribution will double. That's a huge potential that we see ahead of ourselves. And this definitely is fueled by, propelled by increasing availability of high bandwidth speeds, state of the art technology infrastructure, lower power tariffs, and growing presence of hyperscalers. And these are all steadily boosting the tailwinds for India's data center and hybrid multi-cloud adoption and sustainable journey. So with that, I sign off now. Stay right there as we have a host of eminent industry experts joining us soon for sharing their experiences, learning, and insights. And I'm sure all of this will be very valuable to all of us. So enjoy the rest of the webinar as much as I will do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ganguly, for engaging our delegates with absorbing insights on how they may leverage the power of modern IT and digital infrastructure to run solutions seamlessly and strengthen business outcomes. Dear delegates, do remember to fill out the feedback form at the end of today's webinar. Your feedback is invaluable as it helps us improve the content, structure, and presentation of our webinars and virtual conferences. Ladies and gentlemen, our next session is a topical power panel discussion with senior IT leaders from the utilities and automotive sectors, along with infrastructure solution experts from AMD and HPE. Our guest IT leaders and expert speakers will be in conversation with Mr. Barun P. Lala, Advisor, Strategic Solutions, who will play the role of panel moderator. Over to you, Mr. Lala, and our guests.
Welcome to the panel discussion Let me welcome Hilal Khan, Vice President and Operating Head IT, Honda Cars India Limited, Sanjeev Mehta, Head Enterprise Cloud and Alliances for AMD India, and Gopal Srinivasan, Director Compute, Hewlett Packard Enterprise. So thanks for joining this conversation and really appreciate your taking time out to participate in this panel discussion. My first question goes to Hilal. When the lockdown started, and suddenly you faced a situation that people have to work from home, a lot of security related challenges. What, according to you, are the top three challenges which your organization faced, and how did you circumvent it?
So, first of all, Varun, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And it's very relevant and hot topic. I think, uh, it's really important to understand when we talk about resilient and intelligent enterprise, we are talking about resilient and intelligent enterprise, resilient and intelligent IT, or resilient and intelligent enterprise through IT. So I was just thinking about it, and I thought that it's much more relevant to say that resilient and intelligent enterprise through IT, because then we can discuss the context of business and IT together. Now, being a part of discrete manufacturing industry, you can very well relate to the kind of users we are having. We have a lot of people who are not that IT savvy, despite being the fact that more and more business is becoming IT dependent, or where IT is playing really very crucial role. So I would not talk about the IT challenges, but I would talk about the challenges in general, and then probably we can discuss about the IT challenges. The first and foremost, the challenge that we were having was dealing with the mindset of the people, because they have assumed in their mind that now business is going to be difficult, now collaboration is going to be difficult, now the communication is going to be difficult, now the decision making is going to be difficult, and executing the actual business, wherein the business as such is a combination of physical plus virtual, because you can't really produce a car without actually going to the shop floor, right? So there are enablers and there is a core business. So we can enable the enablers, but what about the actual core business? So that was kind of one challenge, and we thought look, whatever we can do at the back end, we can prepare ourselves, and the moment we get the opportunity to go actually on the shop floor and conduct our actual business, we will be surely doing it, and whatever we can try to speed up at the back end so that we can cover up with the rest of the time. That was challenge number one. Second, when I talk about the dealing with the mindset, it is dealing with the doubts as well. So how to take care of all those doubts, and uh, continue to support business in this tough time. That was one of the biggest challenge. Second was assessing the IT infrastructure capabilities. There was literally no time with us. Within a matter of one day, it was decided that from tomorrow onward we'll be working from home, and we were having many doubts related to our security, related to our network, related to our bandwidth, related to the training of the people, whether they will be actually able to use it, because many people are not that IT savvy. But within one day or so, I think everything was kind of streamlined. People, they accustomed to this situation so quickly that we started collaborating in much more tighter fashion. And there was a challenge how to take care of our operating process, and how to invent true definition of collaboration, wherein we have to play a balancing role between the physical work and the virtual work. So I did not specifically talk about IT, but I talked about the combination of the issues between business and IT, and how IT actually enabled all those issues and all those concerns and ensured the smooth continuity of the business.
I think, very well said. I think one thing which clearly came out was within a day you were able to turn it around. I think that's very commendable. I'll go to Sanjeev for my next question. Sanjeev, I am told that you have had a fantastic, last financial year. So, can you quickly summarize as to what AMD did differently to be successful even during the pandemic times? And my second question is a bit tricky. I get to hear that a lot of MNC companies had supply chain issues. So, how did you circumvent that?
Good evening, everyone. AMD significantly accelerated our business in 2020, delivering record annual revenue while expanding our gross margin and doubling our net income. Now we grew revenue at about $9.8 billion. It was up by about 45% over 2019. And this was driven by significantly higher revenue in both the computing as well as the graphics segment, plus the enterprise, embedded, and the semi-custom segment as well. Right? We continued executing our leadership product roadmaps, which is very critical for our success, and made big bets on high performance computing through our powerful CPUs and GPUs for gaming, for data center, and supercomputing. We broadened our focus on EPIC, which is our server processor, and Ryzen, which is our client processor, by having more number of designs from our top OEMs. This enabled us to bring very high performing solutions to our customers, and also an opportunity for our partners to offer more to our customers, right? On the supply constraints, we are actually shipping more parts and volume in all segments, and they are increasing, and this will continue to happen through in 2021. The result is because of the demand-focused environment rather than the manufacturing issue. There is tightness in the supply chain due to demand, and that invariably puts pressure on our product lines. But we are putting in additional capacity to meet this unexpected demand.
Fantastic, unprecedented, nice to hear that you have had a 45% growth over $9.8 billion, is commendable. So coming back to you, Gopal, it's a pleasure, first of all, to have you on this call. Having spent myself 22 years in Hewlett Packard and myself on the other side of the table, what are the top technology focus for HPE towards building resilient and intelligent enterprise?
Thank you, Barunda. Thank you, AMD, for inviting for this discussion. And if we look at it in the COVID scenario, like post-COVID, we are looking at something like we are moving into an intelligent world. And actually, we are living in the world of intelligence. So what is intelligence? Intelligence is what we learn from our surroundings. And why it is important is it helps us to deliver an experience which is unique. And we are seeing in the post-COVID, a lot of new revenue streams are coming out of an ideas, coming out of an experience. So experience management is going to be the key for any enterprises to adopt an intelligent enterprise strategy. And for enterprises to become intelligent and to drive successful digital transformation journey, they need to have an infrastructure which is always on, always fast, always secured, automated and on demand, hybrid by design, and global intelligence. So this is going to be a key factor which will drive the enterprises to adopt intelligence strategy. And HP is clearly focused, and the HP has come out with a strategy of edge to cloud. And edge to cloud, and with delivered as a service and which is built for innovation, which will help and speed up the enterprises to adopt an intelligent enterprise strategy. If you look at HP has built-in products or the portfolio or the complete infrastructure, completely workload optimized and with secured systems, and it has got the flexibility of platforms to run either a traditional or a virtual or a hyper converged or a composable or a high performance platforms. So that's the kind of flexibility HP is bringing into the table for the customers to adopt the intelligent enterprise strategy. And also more important is in the post-COVID, like what Mr. Hilal also said, it's going to be communication is going to be an issue, security is going to be an issue. HPE with the Proline portfolio has clearly focused around security and brought in a lot of technologies around Silicon Root of Trust and IOL5, which helps to make sure that the Proline is the only industry secured server available in the industry today. Why it is important? Because it is easy for enterprise to sign up for a cyber security insurance, which is going to the next biggest market of what enterprises are going to face a challenge. So Proliant is one platform which is available in the world today or in the planet, which is completely secured, certified by cyber insurance protocols like MARSH, so that you are able to adopt a product which is ready for cyber security. And most importantly, it is not the speed or the compute or the performance which really matters. It really matters how autonomous data center you are bringing into an enterprise. So HP Proliant has got portfolio called OneView and InfoSight, which helps you to drive intelligent automation, software-defined intelligence, and bring in an autonomous data center. So that's how we are seeing the industry moving towards intelligent enterprise and how HP is going to help our customers to adopt an intelligent enterprise strategy.
I think Gopal, nicely articulated. I think HP Enterprise is the first company which actually said everything as a service. I think from an infrastructure player, I think this buzzword changed, and you are the pioneers in that footprint. Thanks, Sanjay, for joining. Really appreciate. So, Sanjay, coming back to you, when you take your decisions, infrastructure or intelligent enterprise decisions, what are the top three things that comes to your mind when choosing a technology partner?
So, I we keep talking about the same things, in terms of top three. Obviously, uh, move out of discretionary spending. Look at both short and long term. Short means which will help you tide over the immediate period, and long means you really put in investments related to innovations, right right from the core infrastructure level, then to the enabling infrastructure, and then of course your solutions which bring in return on revenue rather than talking about alleviating costs. So that's the long term piece. On the short term, you have to manage your costs. But at a more fundamental level, when I see HP is here in this meeting, as well as major chip manufacturer is also in this meeting, uh, sometimes we tend to obviously rightfully so put focus on the solutions which are more software articulated, but we need to go down baser in terms of you know uh, as a learner of that industry. Let me bring out why I said baser. So we hear of this chip manufacturers talking about multi-core and threading and multi-threading. So if I were to run a single load task on my infrastructure, it is also important to see what your hardware is bringing along with it as far as the chip and the processor is concerned.
Thanks, Sanjay. I'll go back to Hilal. Quick question for you. When you design or when you think about modernizing your infrastructure, okay, so what are the top 2 or 3 points that comes to your mind?
Barun, I think, time and again, I will continue to emphasize on the fact that for me, my business is the first priority. And, technology I consider is as hygiene. enabler, something that can help me, give the competitive edge in the market. But the technology as such is not my business. So honestly speaking, I don't start with the technology in mind. I start with business objective in mind. And when I talk about business objective, I really need to understand that for me, it's a combination of the various systems that we are designing, either to run my business or to grow my business or to transform my business. And all my underlying infrastructure for run, growth, and transform is nothing but a combination of the same. But when I talk about a futuristic, solution, when I talk about a futuristic infrastructure, when I talk about futuristic data center, a couple of things that I really need to understand and emphasize from the IT viewpoint. That is, in the time to come, we will be heavily depending, on IoT, 5G, artificial intelligence, cognitive, edge computing, analytics, and this will drive the deployment of more complex and dynamic, systems. Now, when we say so, the principle of self-organizing systems of intelligence in the data centers, edge, and cloud of the future, that is really going to be extremely important. Another thing that I would like to add, that since we are witnessing huge digital transformation, we need to keep the increasing complexity in mind. And when I talk about complexity, we have to understand that provisioning and integration by architecting IT infrastructure, which is modular, that can deliver the services on demand. And I believe that I'm talking to two HP guys. One is currently working with HP and one is ex HP. We have heard of adaptive enterprise probably 2 decades back, and from IBM, business on demand or services on demand. I don't really exactly remember the tagline, but since we are moving towards a service consumption model, in this current scenario, software defined integration is going to be the key. We really need to monitor, probe, and provide feedback on the workloads, on the configuration, on the capacity, and on the connectivity. That's one way of looking at the intelligent. Another way of looking at intelligent infrastructure is we can monitor other systems in a mesh or a cloud network. That's also going to give me some kind of resilient and intelligent infrastructure, and how we can deliver purposeful actions that can really meet my organizational goal, not only necessarily the application goal or the infrastructure goal, but since these are the underlying conditions for me to take care of my business objective, it's extremely critical for me. And how we can apply composable principles for resource utilization and efficiency. So this is how I look at more and more intelligent and resilient infrastructure that can take care of my run, growth, and transformation as a combination of application and infrastructure.
I think, Hilal, you summarized it brilliantly. The articulation is absolutely out of the world. It just gives you the different perspective, business objectives first, okay, digital transformation bringing in complexity and hence the need of being ready for that and associated challenges and how to overcome it. Coming back to you, Sanjeev, a quick one. What, according to you, are the data center growth and market opportunities in India as you see it from your point of view? And second thing, which I would like to listen from you is that what is it or how is AMD bringing HPC for the data center in India?
Before that, Barun, I would definitely want to echo what Sanjay mentioned about, what is it that's been done from the processor and the integration of the hardware and the application. And I think we are actually challenging the status quo currently in terms of what we are delivering to a market from leadership performance benchmarks, from as an apple to apple versus every workload that you're looking at, may it be on-prem or may it be on the cloud, right? So it's a very critical aspect. And today, with so much of emphasis and dependency on the data and digital transformation, I think density becomes a very critical aspect of it. And with our technology that we offer today, we can actually, help improve density, reduce power consumption in a big way, right? Coming to your point, India is a key data center market for MD, and this is owing to the rapid increase in the adoption of emerging digital technology. Some of the government policies that's pushing data localization is helping further the cause. So there are the industry, there are the customers, there are the government policies that are working towards to enhance and accelerate the data center market for us in India, right? The pandemic has pushed the demand for cloud as well, and we work very closely with a lot of these hyperscalers, including large MDCs, mega data center providers across the globe. And we are working with to enable a lot of services and solutions and applications and workloads along with them to provide, the agility that the enterprise is looking at today, right? Um, um, so there's a huge expectation where the market is going to grow. The growth of the data center market has also led to opportunities across industries such as conventional defense or meteorology, manufacturing to BFSI, and as Sanjay mentioned, even with 5G coming up, we believe telecom is going to be a big, giving a big boost to a lot of industries in terms of collaboration and connectivity, and help on the content to be delivered to a lot of the remote workforce that's going to be there.
So I think, as a outsider observing the IT industry, I completely endorse your point of view in terms of the data center growths and the pandemic leading to some of the accelerated demands. Coming back to you, Sanjay, Sanjay, you have been working in the utility sector for many years now. You were with Tata Power, and now you're again with one of the leading, utility supplier in Calcutta. Okay, now from the IT perspective, from the IT perspective, in your new organization, what are the top IT challenges for you? Is it different from what you had in Tata Power, or is it the same? Or if it is different, then what is it and why?
If you look at the utility industry, it is in the cusp of waiting for deregulation, and that is where the entire mindset of mm, the power and utility industry looking at its consumers more as customers like an FMCG company would do. That is when the supply and the wire, these are two technical terms, are separated out. That means the last mile could be provided by a player who may not be a discom company. Um, so these things are, I mean, it is a discom company, but they may not have a license to be a discom company, but they may be in a different avatar, holding the consumers like a Walmart would do against a PNG or a levers. So very, I mean, I'm drawing this simile from my past FMCG experience earlier, where we had challenges how the Colgates and the levers of the world used to look at Walmart. So in order to do that, from a what we have done is we have earlier, just uh, providing power, reliable power, continuous power, stable power, and safe power. That formed part of the basic delivery. Then we looked at convenience. That means you are making the consumer use e-commerce as a way to complete his queries as well as fulfill his transactions as the payer. Then we came up with, there are prepaid options, which really helps, like in a telecom consumer, to know that your billing uh, is what you want to consume, and if it goes over the budget, then you know that you need to take some sharp measures how to consume electricity. Then the next level of intimacy is experience. So we have implemented chatbots, and then we are aggressively looking at voice bots, but voice bots not merely with the Alexas of the world, looking at vernacular voice bots, so as to balance, to give a seamless natural language experience, and as well as balance the load that is there in the customer care center. So these are some of the examples which will help us bring that intimacy with the consumer in these four layers that I spoke of, starting with delivery, then with convenience, then with experience, and finally that intimacy is a combination of all these factors together.
Coming back to you, Gopal, you know, what are the key offerings that HPE and AMD brings to the table in the data center space?
Yes, Barunda, before I come back to this question, I would like to thank Sanjay and Hilal to bring out their perspective in terms of what is the expectations from the enterprises and from the customer side. Like Mr. Hilal brought out very clearly that he is looking at software-defined intelligence, which is very, very important. And also in terms of the intelligence it should not be reactive, or it should not be proactive. It should be something like intelligence should be able to predict what is going to happen. All right. In that way, HP is clearly come out with the portfolios of bringing the software defined intelligence in terms of the building the foundation block for the hardware, and also in terms of bringing the autonomous data center. Like we are bringing the global intelligence not only at the infrastructure level, at the application level, in terms of bringing the best practices how a virtualization can be deployed, in terms of where is the bottleneck in terms of a virtual machine over and above the virtual machine, and over and above the serve application level on the network level. So that's the kind of intelligence which you are bringing in. And also in terms of what Sanjeev brought it in terms of security, with AMD portfolio, with silicon root of trust, and with secured encryption engine from the AMD processors, and with the network part, secured encryption memory, I think Proliant has got the best industry secured servers today. And the advantage for us is with the AMD is the one is the best performance per core, and the reducing the total cost of ownership in terms of density. And also today we have got a portfolio to address your general purpose computing and also on high performance computing. So HP has got the portfolio for the customers to adopt depending on the form factor, depending upon the workload. Either it can be a 1U 1P server which can deliver 2P performance, or it can be even a 2P server which can take about higher cores and higher memory to meet any kind of high performance computing or a general purpose computing. And if you look at on the hyperconverged platform, which is a technology which is really picked up, HP has got a portfolio called Simplicity to address that, and also DX Nutanix uplink. So we are partner with Nutanix, and where we have seen a huge ramp up happening around that. And in terms of high performance, it's a key area for us because we have seen a lot of interesting logos across the world, a lot of interesting implementations where along with Cray and AMD, I think these are record benchmark implementation which has been deployed. And with Apollo and Cray portfolio, we have got a complete portfolio to address the high performance computing. So that's the kind of an on the hardware level, and in terms of the intelligence level, how HP has partnered with AMD to bring in the technology to the customers.
Hey, thanks, Gopal. I'll go to the final round of questions. We need to be sort of a rapid fire kind of stuff because we are running out of time. So, Hilal, very quickly, when you build intelligent data centers, what are the areas which is of paramount importance for you?
If by building the data center you mean how we are deploying our workload in the available data center, be it private, public, or on-prem or hybrid, No, I already talked about the intelligent data centers, the intelligence in terms of software defined integration, software defined configuration, scalability, and how to take care of the upcoming technology that will push us for more and more business cases, using 5G, IoT, etc., etc. But when I look at the infrastructure or the partner perspective, I think what's really going to be extremely important, and that's the kind of uh, it's not an offense to anybody, but when we talk about a solution, it's a combination of product and services. Now, product is coming with lot of R&D, and it is kind of established product. Uh, there are not too much of worries about the product, but when we have to knit the piece of product and the services together, what we have really seen that these people generally think technology and deliver technology, whereas as a end customer, my objective is think business, deliver business, using technology as underlying method. So what is really happening that when we are on a sales pitch, or when we are meeting the pre-sales people, we really need to understand whether they are going to walk the talk. They really have people who can actually deliver as to what is being said by the pre-sales team, and it will eventually met our business objective. So I really see lot of gap between the claims and the real execution, and probably that's there everywhere. So I am not taking it as a too much of complaint, but this is something which is constantly bothering us. The second thing is when they convert any kind of business objective into a reality with the help of technology, the sustenance model generally is missing. So one time deployment is I would not say missing, it's not as core to their deliverables as the one time delivery. So we really need to focus on the sustenance part of it, and how we can ensure that our investment is taken care of, and we are not making the things obsolete so fast. And with the help, with the kind of investment that we have done, how we can protect it over a longer period of time, despite understanding the fact that the market is dynamic, the technology is dynamic, the needs are changing. But how to have the effective utilization of the solution that we are deploying for a longer period of time.
I think it is very well said. It's just not a one-time solution. It's a sustenance, and it has to provide a solution to your business problems. I think it's very well articulated. Sanjay, coming back to you, you have been with a utility company, okay, and what is your point of view on cloud? Do you actually have your critical applications on cloud? Do you see cloud as the future roadmap? Are you already utilizing it? Or do you think that if you move to cloud, the cost parameters is going to go haywire?
Yes, with this whole pandemic situation and the way we went about providing collaboration platforms, the acceptance of cloud has moved several fold in almost all brick and mortar companies. So that's a positive sign. However, we still have, very adherence to the type of data that we capture, which are like providing your crown jewels. Wherever there is a business exigency that you cannot on the fly, uh, you know, uh, take your data to a 4x level just because the demand is saying so, cloud is an alternative. And so we are doing that. At the same time, a cloud with not with a single brush, but looking at, even in a public cloud scenario, looking at a hybrid situation where your ability to manage across the multiple environments is seamless, at this and at the same time giving you a portal by which you are able to see the resources as if it was one single cloud for you, including your private cloud, including your your own computing environment that you have on premise.
Gopal, I'm sure you know you must be waiting for my next question. Okay. What is the HPE solution for a single pane management of multi-cloud environment?
So if you look at it, Barun, we have about two different kind of approach. One is through our Green Lake Central, right? We are trying to bring in Green Lake Central where Mr. Sanjay was talking about distributed cloud. So today HP is bringing to the table, like with the Green Lake Central, a single pane of management for a distributed cloud environment as a service model, delivered as a service model. That is the one kind of technology which HP is really pushing it hard, and a lot of customers are adopting it. And we are seeing that the momentum have picked up actually during the COVID time frame. And second, in terms of the utilities, so we have got the global intelligence engine, and also we have got the tools, for example, not only in terms of management, in terms of which workloads you need to move it between a private cloud and a public cloud and a distributed cloud. So we have got we have recently acquired companies like called Redfixy. So these are the companies which help us, and we have also have a strong partnership with AWS and with Amazon, Intel, and Microsoft Azure, and building up the portfolio and providing a solution to the customers on distributed cloud. And HP has got a portfolio not on the hardware level, but we have gone much more above in terms of infrastructure, application level, and then providing that kind of solution to customers.
Final question, Sanjeev.
Yes.
After having a successful 2020, what is in store for customers and OEMs from the AMD side for 2021?
I think there's a lot of things in store, both on the data center where we are doing some, we are in a process of, we have announced our next generation of processor, which is called Milan, which will give almost about 70 to 25% uplift, IPC uplift from our current generation. We are doing extremely well on our GPU side, where we have, which is MI100 as we call it, and that's the first in the market to cross the 10 teraflop benchmarks. This MI100 delivers 11.76 teraflop. So we are taking the high performance computing to a different level with using one of the latest technology, which is 7 nanometer, without any compromise on the security. A lot of these products are open standard, so there is nothing locked on for a customer. So any of these tools that you want to use are open for you to, rather than locking you down into that. Even on the client side, if you see some of our devices that we have made, may be on the desktops or laptops or even Chromebooks, which is big for education and being seen adopted as in the corporates as well, because of a cloud first strategy. A browser is probably all it takes for them to access the application. So there is a huge platform that's growing, adoption by our partners. There's huge story that we are working on both on the CPU and GPU side as well. So I think we are just getting started, and there is so much that AMD has to offer. And we are excited, and the testimony itself is that we are growing, our numbers are growing, our market share is growing, our valuation is growing, our stock price is growing, and and the number of platforms that's getting built up by our OEM partners are growing. Our adoption within the cloud MDCs or even within the country from the local service providers is growing. So every sector, may it be telecom to BFSI to SMB to startups, are leveraging AMD technology. And we are super excited with the journey that we have embarked. And thanks to our partners, where we are able to deliver together the experience that our customers and our partners expects from us.
Thanks a lot, Sanjeev. I would sincerely like to thank Mr. Hilal Khan, Mr. Sanjay Prasad for joining this panel discussion. Absolute pleasure to reconnect. Hilal, it's
Thank you
after
so
many,
much,
many
Varun.
years.
Thank you so much. It's absolute pleasure.
Thank you, panelists and Mr. Lala. Excellent takeaways for IT and digital transformation leaders from that discussion, I must say. Dear delegates, do remember to fill out the feedback form at the end of today's webinar. Your feedback is invaluable as it helps us improve the content, structure, and presentation of our webinars and virtual conferences. Ladies and gentlemen, for our next session, we bring you a specially curated solution demo by Mr. Ajay Krishna Tokala, Data Center Specialist, AMD. Over to you, Ajay.
Hello. All right. So we are going to talk about the AMD EPIC 7002 series of our products today and how we were able to revolutionize the whole of the data center landscape using our 7002 series of our products. As you know, AMD is a semiconductor organization. We manufacture processors which cater to the client requirements, like for your laptops and desktops, and we have products which cater to the data center requirements, which are codenamed as EPIC, and we also have a GPU portfolio which is codenamed as Radeon. Today, I'm going to take you through AMD EPIC series of our products, which primarily caters to the data center requirements. So basically, the processor which gets into the servers, right? So there have been a lot of momentum ever since we came out with the Epic series of products. Epic is a family name of our products. So we started our Epic journey post the Octron series of products, which used to be our 6000 series in the past. And now, as we speak, we are in the second generation of AMD Epic processors, which is codenamed as Rome. Prior to this, we had Naples, and post Rome, we are going to have something called as Milan. We are going to I'm going to take you through all of these products eventually in the course of our presentation today. So there has been a lot of accelerating momentum of AMD EPIC processors, especially in the data center space. Almost 9 out of the 10 top cloud service providers across the world has AMD instances today. There has been a lot of traction from even migration from the competitive landscape to the AMD EPIC processors for the performance reasons. What we offer is the best of the core density and the memory bandwidth. And some of the features what we are going to discuss today is actually helping us accelerate the whole of this momentum. Not just in the cloud data center space, but also on the high performance computing space. What you see here on the bottom of the slide is Frontier. Frontier is one of the first exaflop machine which is going to be delivered by AMD EPIC with uh, one of our system partners, Cray HPE. And with approximately 1.5 exaflops of compute power, this system is going to be the fastest supercomputer which would be delivered uh, uh, by us and which will be housed at Oak Ridge National Laboratory. This would be delivered by mid or end of this year. Likewise, we will be delivering another exascale machine, which is called as El Capitan. El Capitan would be housed at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory with a compute power of approximately 2 exaflops, which is going to be even faster than Frontier. This is scheduled for delivery by next year. Not just the exascale mission or the exascale projects, but we also have a lot of other high performance computing wins like San Diego Supercomputing Center or Meteor France or Indiana University, plenty of them, right? So AMD EPIC happens to be the undisputed leader in the high performance and the cloud space today. How did all of this happen, right? So for an organization who used to, uh, I mean, we started as a second source of x86 processors at one point in time, and as we speak today, we are the number one when it comes to the performance on x86 processors. So this all happened with a lot of architectural changes what we done at a silicon level. So the leftmost one, what you see here is a traditional monolithic design, and we have realized that monolithic design is not going to take us the places where we wanted to go at an architectural level. So we said there are a lot of changes which is required. So the first and the foremost change what we have done in our first generation EPIC, which is 7001 series, is we said instead of monolithic design, we came out with something called as multi-chip module, where we have broken down the silicon into multiple smaller silicon dies instead of having a single large piece of silicon. Because all this while it was just the incrementalism which was happening with our competition. So if you look at my competition who was stuck with the 14 nanometer for the past 5 or 6 generations, uh, it was not going anywhere. With the increased number of cores, the size of the silicon was increasing, and the thermals of the process were increasing, and it was not really so innovative which uh, uh, which is required by the demanding customers of the data center. So what we have done on the first generation is we continued with the 14 nanometer because at that point in time, 14 nanometer process technology was the best which was available in 2017. So we continued with that, but with changes on the silicon level, instead of having a monolithic die, we changed it to a multi-chip module, having the multiple I/O and the memory controllers distributed on each of these dies, and we also came out with something called as Infinity Fabric. So what you see here is a GMI lanes, what we call it as in our internal terminology. All of these four multiple dies are connected to each other and having the complete IO and the memory distributed. So for anything, any application which is NUMA aware, it was delivering phenomenal performance on the first generation. So when we came out with the first generation process, Maple process in 2017, we said 2019 we are going to come out with a better process technology processors. We kept our word by delivering AMD EPYC 7002 series of products mid of 2019, precisely in the month of August, with much more advanced features. So a couple of other advanced changes that we have done from the first generation to the second generation. One, we migrated from a 14 nanometer process technology to a 7 nanometer process technology. And that makes it AMD EPYC the first processor to come out with a 7 nanometer process technology based architecture. Apart from this, we also consolidated the whole of the memory and the IO controllers onto a centralized die and started connecting the whole of the core complexes or the core dies to this centralized die. So the centralized die, basically the IO die is continues to be on a 14 nanometer process technology based processor, whereas the core complexes or the core dies were migrated onto a 7 nanometer process technology. Because of this advancement, what we have done, we were able to accommodate twice the number of transistors as compared to what we were doing on the first generation, right? So that translates to better, higher number of cores at the similar thermals with the best of the silicon yield, which completely optimizes the silicon yields for us, and silicon economics were completely in control by virtue of we doing taking up these kind of architectural changes. So what it means, AMD EPYC 7002 series of processors at a glance, right? So we follow a very balanced architecture at AMD. If you see the whole of the core compute architecture, so by virtue of we migrating from 14 nanometer to 7 nanometer process technology, on the first generation we were supporting up till 32 cores, whereas on the second generation we started supporting up till 64 cores and 128 threads. So we're the first x86 processor to come out and support 64 cores and 128 threads per processor, right? With approximately with a huge abundant 256 MB of L3 cache, makes it even better, right? And the reduced system diameter, right? As I explained you, the IO controllers and the memory controllers were completely consolidated in a centralized way. It was not distributed anymore, which brought in the single NUMA distance between the core complexes and the IO dies. And all of this within the TDP thermals, within the thermals of 225 to 280 watt range, right? So if you look at my competition, so who was supporting a maximum core count of about 28 cores and consuming about 205 watts of TDP. As compared to them, we support 64 cores and we consume only 225 watts, right? So, and that too without a chipset. So if you include the chipset power as well in my competition's case, which is not applicable in my case because I don't have a chipset. So we follow something called as a system on chip architecture. So 225 plus the chipset power close to about 220 to 225 watts. What you get from my competition is only a 28 core, whereas you get about 64 cores from AMD. So this is phenomenal, no rocket science behind it. So we are on a better process technology as compared to our competition. 14 nanometer to 7 nanometer is the magic. What is doing the better thermals for us here, and the additional core count here. Not just on the performance of the compute cores, but also on the IO or the memory support, right? So if you look at uh, our architecture, we support 8 memory channels, and each memory channel clocking at 3200 megahertz of memory frequency, translating to about 410 gigabyte per second memory bandwidth, which is again first in the industry. So, and where is my competition? So they support 6 memory channels at clocking at 2933 megahertz of memory frequency. So approximately about 45% additional memory bandwidth is what we support in our case. So if you look at a lot of high performance computing wins, what you have seen on the first slide, so is a result of the best of the core performance which is supported by the memory bandwidth, right? So memory bandwidth is extremely important for majority of these applications, which makes it the best choice of high performance computing processor for any application for that matter. Let it be the high performance computing or the virtualization, or let it be any of your cloud applications. So database environment. So it makes it the best architecture to follow. And we also support approximately 4 terabytes of memory per processor. So basically, if you go with a dual socket machine of AMD, today it has a capability to support up to 8 terabyte of memory, right? So you're sorted on your memory scalability issues. Back in the day, if you go to any customer and ask them, sir, why are you why is that you may want to go with a dual socket server? uh, uh, a majority of them used to tell us the reasons like the system IO or the memory scalability were the issues why people were looking at is two processor based servers or a four socket server, so on and so forth. Now whatever my competition is supporting you with in a quad socket server, probably a single socket server is delivering the same kind of performance and the same kind of scalability that you're looking for. Talking about the system IO, so we support 128 PCIe Gen 4 lanes. So we are the first to support the PCIe Gen 4 on an x86 architecture. And we have a huge system IO available. We support 128 PCIe lanes in a single socket and a dual socket server, right? So 128 lanes versus 48 lanes of my competition. Again, that too on double the bandwidth. So considering PCIe Gen 3 to Gen 4, PCIe Gen 3 supports a transfer rate of 8 gigatransfers per second, whereas we support 16 gigatransfers per second on PCIe Gen 4. The double the IO bandwidth as well as the additional lanes makes it almost like 2.5 times better IO bandwidth what we deliver as compared to our competition. Apart from this, we have a security subsystem available. So we have a ARM-based Cortex processor embedded in our processor, which caters to our security fundamentals. So we support three features basically on the security aspect. So first one is called secure root of trust. So it keeps checking for any kind of vulnerabilities at a boot level, and it also enables you with a lot of encryption keys, which is available uh, by default when you buy an AMD server, right? So and these encryption keys can be used for AMD secure AMD memory encryption. So basically, if you look at a lot of vulnerabilities have been surfaced in the last couple of quarters or years, right? So ever since 2016, we have seen close to a few hundreds of vulnerabilities, starting from Spectre to Meltdown to Port Mash, IO Mash. We have heard from a lot of customers, especially during the Spectre days, when my competition used to, I mean, my competition was badly affected by Spectre at one point in time, and they used to release a patch. So the minute you update this patch, there used to be a huge toll on the CPU cycles because it was reducing the performance on the Spectre, so on and so forth. So and majority of these vulnerabilities, what we are talking about, were the memory leakages or the side channel attacks or the cold boot attacks which were happening, right? So predominantly everything is related to memory, and there was a data leak from a memory side. So the overall thing can be stopped by completely encrypting the whole of your system memory. So, I mean, nobody else can do it better than our architecture here because of, thanks to the Cortex processor that we have on our processors. And likewise, we have secure encrypted virtualization as well. So if you have multiple virtual machines running on a same physical server, the whole of your physical uh, uh, virtual machines, I mean, if you have two virtual machines running on a same server, you can completely encrypt it at a virtualization level at a vmdk level. You can completely virtualize it, and it prevents from one virtual machine to look at the other virtual machine in spite of sharing the same physical hardware, right? That's what it does. And AMD EPYC processors are designed for advanced workloads, starting from high performance computing to cloud, hyperscale virtualization, machine learning, big data analytics, software defined infrastructure. So you name it. So we are good for majority of these advanced workloads. We have a processor right fit for for any kind of your workload. And we have close to about 170 plus world records established by AMD EPYC 7002 series of products. Our own processors have established, made this happen, 170 plus world records, and we bet our competition by a mile. So if you look at some of the numbers like uh, uh, floating point numbers or the integer performance numbers, so we are way ahead of our competition. Almost sometimes we are better by 2x of the performance, right? So if you look at the spec integer number, what we support versus what my competition supports, it's almost like 2x. Uh, Likewise, on the spec JBBs or the SQL performance numbers or the cloud or the virtualization application spec word, VM mark. So we have 170 plus such world records. These are some of the other application benchmarks what we have done. So these are some of the high performance computing numbers. Ansys Fluent, we are better by about 46% per core. Alter Radios, Microsoft SQL Server, VM Mark, or these are some of the numbers that we have just mentioned it here. So there's some of the processors that we support. So starting from 8 core, we have offerings all the way up to 64 cores. So what you see here in blue are the specialized queues which are meant for the single socket environments. As I said previously, so you're not, I mean, if I'm going to give you the same kind of scalability what you get on a dual socket server or a quad socket server of my competition, using a single socket server of AMD doing substantial savings on the costing in your data center, I'm sure everybody would be interested for that. This is the prime reason why we have come out with a single socket specialized queues. So wherever you see a P mentioned next to a processor, it means it is a specialized queue, and this is specially made only for a single socket server environments. So for example, if you take a 7302, 7302 is 16 core processor, and we have a 7302P as well, which is also a 16 core processor. But if you take 7302P, this can go only into a single socket server, whereas 7302 can go into a dual socket or a single socket server. The 8 memory channels that we spoke about, or the 4 terabytes of memory that we support, 128 PCIe Gen 4 lanes, or the symmetric multi-threading, or the turbo boost that we spoke about, the security features that we spoke about, all of these features are constant and same for all the processors that we spoke about. Apart from these CPUs, I mean, it is fantastic to have a 64 core processors, 60, 32, 48, and 64 core processors, so on and so forth. There have been a lot of customers who came back to us and said, fantastic, you guys came out with the best of the higher core count processors, but it is taking a toll on the applications which are licensed based on the number of cores. And they wanted this, they really wanted some processors at a lower core count, which are optimized for better performance. So these are the specially optimized queues for us. These are the performance optimized queues. So basically we have these are optimized based on the frequency as well as on the cache that we support. So 7F32, 7F52, and 7F72 are these products, 8, 16, and 24 cores. The 8 core 3.7 gigahertz with approximately 128 MB of L3 cache. Likewise, we have a 7F52, which is a 16 core processor with 256 MB of L3 cache, clocking at 3.5 gigahertz of frequency. Likewise, a 24 core processor, 3.2 gigahertz with about 192 MB of L3 cache. These are specially made for the hyperconverged infrastructure where the licensing is based on the number of cores, and somebody is looking for optimizing the licensing costs. I think there's a way to go. Likewise, commercial high performance computing applications and the database applications, which are completely defined based on the number of cores. I mean, where the licensing is totally based on the number of cores, I think there's a way to go forward. What made it so consistent for us so is the execution what we've been doing. It's a long term commitment from us, and this is what we've been doing. So we started our journey in 2017 with the first generation AMD EPIC 7001 series of our products, continued with AMD 7002 series of our products, followed by the third generation is going to be based on Zen 3 architecture, which is called Milan, which is on track, which is scheduled for announcement and delivery during this year. And likewise, we have a very consistent roadmap on our Radeon portfolio as well, which we'll keep it for some other day. So we've been executing the whole of the consistent roadmap with a very dedicated long-term commitment, which is, I mean, the roadmap commitment is extremely important in this case because, well, as I said, while my competition is still stuck with a 14 nanometer process technology for quite some time, almost as high as about 5 to 6 generations, our second generation processor itself, we came out with a better process technology. I mean, 2017 we said 2019 we are going to come out with a 7 nanometer process technology based process, and we came out with this. And as a result of the consistent execution, uh, I mean, the kind of numbers that you're seeing, everything is possible. Ecosystem. So we have a phenomenal ecosystem in place. So we have about 170 plus platforms which are certified and available on AMD EPIC 7002 series, which includes all the top leading OEMs, HP, Dell, Supermicro, Cisco, Lenovo, Cray. There's some of the names. And we also have the third-party components. I mean, talking about the Microns or the Western Digital or NVIDIA GPU cards or the Broadcom NIC cards or the Xilinx, which is our partner organization right now. So we have a complete ecosystem which is well in place at this point in time. So anything that you require, anything you think which is not yet certified, also we can take it up and get it certified for you. I mean, if there is any very niche NIC cards or any specific thing which is not certified, if you think so, please bring it to our notice and we can get it done for you. A quick snapshot of our portfolio. To start with, there's a portfolio what is available from our partner Dell. So Dell has five different types of offerings. R6515 and 7515 are the single socket offerings in 1U and 2U form factor. Likewise, we have 6525 and 7525, which are a dual socket servers in 1U and 2U form factor. And 6525 is a cloud series of a product, which is nothing but a density form factor. So where we support four servers in a 2U form factor. Quickly on the HP side, HP has three products. We have a couple of more coming up from HPE. So DL325 is a single socket in 1U, DL385 is a dual socket in 2U, and we have Apollo 2000, which is a dense platform coming out from HPE for supporting four servers in a 2U form factor. Talking about Lenovo, Lenovo has four products again. 645 and 665 are the dual socket servers in 1U and 2U form factor. Likewise, 635 and 655 are the single socket servers in 1U and 2U form factor, subject to the number of hard drives that they support and the system I/O and the scalability on the I/O. So you can choose between the 1U server or a 2U server. That's all I have for today. So thank you so much for your time.
That was a genuinely interesting demo for IT leaders and IT practitioners alike. Thank you, Mr. Thokala, for demonstrating how modern infrastructure solutions work to deliver business advantages. Dear delegates, before we move on to the final session of today's webinar, do remember to fill out the feedback form and share your ratings about the webinar at the end of today's session. Ladies and gentlemen, our final session is a synopsis of the key takeaways from today's webinar. This session will be presented by my colleague, Mr. Ashwini Mishra, Business and Technology Editor, Strategic Solutions. Over to you, Ashwini.
Hello and welcome to the last session for the day, where I will quickly highlight some of the key takeaways from the discussion. Overall, we had an insightful session with the theme around building resilient and intelligent enterprises. We gained new insights from the IT leaders at Honda Cars India and RPSG CESC Power Group. Senior executives from AMD and HPE shared their thoughts on how they are helping enterprises to improve customer experience by pushing the boundaries for application performance, energy efficiency, improving data security, and creating the next generation IT infrastructure. The impact of COVID-19 on the overall IT infrastructure was immediate and widespread across all industries. CIOs during the pandemic played a central role in navigating the crisis as they grappled with complex challenges. Today's theme was focused on reinventing paradigms, building resilient and intelligent enterprises. In this whole process of reinvention, it is beyond doubt that enterprise IT leaders are looking at three core areas as they look for rebound and growth. The first is how they rewire and reshape themselves, how they can take advantage of a digital cloud based, mobile centric world and use advanced technologies, whether it is artificial intelligence or machine learning or the Internet of Things inside their operations. The second is how they can leverage massive amounts of data and bring advanced analytics into their business, and not just bring it in an algorithmic sense, but bring it in a more human sense so that people have the capacity to use it. And the third is how they use the digital resources out there to innovate for their customers, design new products, new services, and at times entirely new business models to drive growth. If we closely look at all the three areas, it is clearly evident that the role of the IT infrastructure and especially the data center will play a critical role, whether it is an in-house data center owned and operated by an enterprise or a multi-tenant mega data center. We are also seeing the rise of a new intelligent infrastructure that will empower customers to interact with their data, with their services, and their connectivity ecosystem by providing real time visibility across hybrid IT environments. The current crisis has placed data centers at the center of key IT decision making. And as we continue to evolve with the new world of distributed workforce and blended working options, we will see more flexibility, scalability, and efficiency as the new standard in the data centers. With these thoughts, I will now wind up the session. And before I do so, I want to thank all our speakers, our partners, and all of you who have taken out time to watch this session. I hope there are some key learnings that you all can take along the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashwini. That neatly summed up the key advantages of deploying state-of-the-art IT infrastructure for superior business outcomes, overcoming security and macro environment challenges. That's all we have for you, viewers. We hope you enjoyed this specially curated webinar focused on using IT infrastructure solutions to create resilient enterprises. On behalf of AMD, HPE, and Strategic Solutions, I thank you for attending and our panelists and expert speakers for enriching us with their experiences and insights. We look forward to you joining us for our next webinar. Take care, stay safe, and may robust, intelligent IT infrastructure help your organization scale to new heights. This is Ushma Tyagi signing off on behalf of Strategic Solutions.